I work specifically with teens and I do some parent coaching, but I saw it all the time how it impacts families. The parents overtired. Now they're burnt out. Now they have no patience. Now they're yelling at their kid, or now they can't, get a work-life balance going and they feel like burnt out all the time. The kids are lack of sleep and now they're grumpy and moody and can't focus in school. It's like everything comes back to sleep.
Yeah. Everything, people,
Everything.
including appetite,
Yes. I
including
mean,
appetite and what
hormones.
you crave and your hormones and
Your
all of the above.
hormones. Your body, when you're sleeping, does so much work and it produces
Mhm.
hormones that tell you when you're full. It produces these hormones that are like, okay, I'm hungry now, I'm full now, and it helps regulate every system of your body.
What's up, you beautiful beasts? I'm Katie. I'm on a mission to help humans become their favorite versions of themselves and to strive for overall health by healing their relationship to food and exercise, healing their relationship to their body, and most importantly, healing their relationship to themselves, all without ever having to step on a scale. I have had the privilege to talk to all kinds of different humans who have been through a plethora of experiences just being a human and existing. I believe that every single time someone shares their story, at least one person listening will learn from it, be inspired by it, and maybe, just maybe, even change the entire direction of their life. These are the stories of humans unveiling their beautiful beast. Keep listening. This is the Unveiling the Beast podcast. Welcome to the Unveiling the Beast podcast.
Thank you.
I'm your host, Katie Intricate. No, I'm just kidding. I don't do that. But can you tell the listeners a little bit about who you are and why you think you are who you are?
Absolutely. So I am Keri Cooper, and I have been a therapist for almost 25 years at this point. I am a holistic therapist, which then brought me onto my entire journey about sleep. And now I have another business, which is I am a certified sleep science coach, and I have Sleep Solutions by Keri to help America and really the whole world get the sleep that they need.
And why is that important?
Sleep is one of those foundational elements where without it, you cannot have good physical or mental health. Like literally, everything is tied to sleep,
Say it
which,
again for the people in the back. I am
yeah,
sorry for interrupting, but you know.
seriously, everything is tied to sleep. I just did a post today and I was like, everyone's like 2025 goal was, oh, I'm going to exercise and eat better. Neither one of these are going to happen if you are not sleeping well. So everything we talk about, and I saw it so long in my private practice. I work specifically with teens and I do some parent coaching, but I saw it all the time how it impacts families. The parents overtired. Now they're burnt out. Now they have no patience. Now they're yelling at their kid, or now they can't, get a work-life balance going and they feel like burnt out all the time. The kids are lack of sleep and now they're grumpy and moody and can't focus in school. It's like everything comes back to sleep.
Yeah. Everything, people,
Everything.
including appetite,
Yes. I
including
mean,
appetite and what
hormones.
you crave and your hormones and
Your
all of the above.
hormones. Your body, when you're sleeping, does so much work and it produces
Mhm.
hormones that tell you when you're full. It produces these hormones that are like, okay, I'm hungry now, I'm full now, and it helps regulate every system of your body. I mean, even when we're talking about we're coming into, cold and flu season right now, and this whole, everyone's sick.
Yeah.
Uh, it's while you sleep that your immune system turns on and really starts cleaning out the body.
Yeah. I'm so glad you're talking about this because my listeners know I had chronic sleep deprivation for 6 years and where I was averaging maybe 4 to 6 hours a night. And I didn't understand the connection. Like, I didn't understand why I was hungry all the time. I didn't understand why I couldn't, just get my health in check, right? As we like, because we think we can control everything. And then when I quit my job and opened my own practice and I started getting sleep, I was like, something's missing. And it was my exhaustion. That's what was missing. So like all day I'd be distracted by my exhaustion. And now I was like, and it takes a while to catch up. I'm still catching up. That was 6 years of lack of sleep, but this is how I got interested in the sleep piece of our health because, like you said, it's always, I'm gonna work out and I'm gonna eat right. Okay, well, that doesn't mean diddly crap if you're not sleeping well.
Yeah.
And also if you're not taking care of um like the mental health piece, like everything is just connected to each other. And I just love how it's this ball of like here's the ball of health and here's the nutrition piece and here's the movement piece. But what about all this over here? And I feel like sleep is like up here, just does that make sense? I'm trying to do
It's,
like this visual.
it's everything. And,
Yeah.
when I'm in my private practice, and that's a whole, separate ball game, but when I'm in my private practice, one of the questions I always ask is, how are you sleeping? Because if you're telling me you're not going to bed till 2 or 3 in the morning, I can't even work with you on the anxiety piece and giving you coping skills because you're not even going to be able to put them into place until your brain is actually functioning. And
Hmm.
when you're overtired, we don't have good judgment. Everything feels like a crisis. Like you're just overloaded constantly. So I always need to back it up and really look at the absolute foundation piece of this, which is like you have to be sleeping. And it's also, especially when I work with my college kids, always the way I know if they're about to spiral downhill when all of a sudden their sleep is really wacky. I'm like, whoa, 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 what's happening? And we need to catch this before you go off the deep end. So sleep is just such a good indicator for me with how are people doing with their mental health.
Yeah. So can you kind of give like, I don't want to ask what's more important, but if you were to tell somebody, okay, let's start here, would you start with quality or would you start with quantity? Or would it be like a mixture of both?
I think it has to be a mix of both for me, but I also feel like with quantity, many times the quality comes. Like
Mm,
I even if you're having good quality, you need the quantity. And normally when you're having good quantity, the quality is coming. Like our REM cycles, we need them to repeat around 4 times throughout our sleep cycle. And if we're completing these REM cycles, we're going to have a good quality of sleep, assuming that
mhm.
we're going through the cycle appropriately. And it's much easier to actually work on the quantity of sleep opposed to your quality of sleep.
Okay.
So, but again, it's so hand in hand, if that makes sense.
Hmm. Yeah, I find that at least for me, when I get more quantity, like for listeners, that just means like how many hours are you sleeping? My quality will go down. Well, according to my Fitbit, my quality goes down, but when I have this isn't all the time, but lately, if I have like a shorter quantity of sleep, my sleep quality goes up. And it's just like I slept so hard for that short time.
Also, it's also about there is an issue with oversleeping.
Hmm.
When you're oversleeping, that's not a good thing either. So it's like finding that sweet spot of how many hours do you really need. I also, my personal opinion is I don't love the Fitbits or any of the sleep trackers out there. I
Hmm.
don't think they give the full picture. And I think they almost, especially for people who have sleep issues, if there's so many products on the market right now. And if you're constantly like looking at that product, you get into this state of mind where you're almost battling your sleep, like you're fighting for it. That's not the mentality in order to have better sleep. And that's, when I'm doing my sleep coaching, really what the research shows is that you need like a CBT type of therapy, a cognitive behavioral therapy approach to sleep. Like that's what's going to really be impactful. So when we take sleep and we start thinking about it as we have to battle it and we have to get X amount of numbers and we're looking at, tracking devices and all of that, it's actually going to make us more anxious about sleep and we are not going to get good sleep.
I'm smiling this big because it's such a parallel to the people who become um, unhealthily obsessed. Unhealthily is a word, right?
We're gonna go with it.
Un-
Yeah.
unhealthily obsessed with tracking calories and macros. It's the
Same
same
thing.
thing, the anxiety, and this was my story. If I was like over or under or whatever, I'd be in my bed in a ball crying and feeling like a loser. And so it's this parallel, like when we focus on the tracking rather than focus on how we're feeling,
Yeah.
it's overwhelming. And like you said, the anxiety is just like, phew, and the stress and anxiety that we get from the unhealthy obsession of the numbers is more unhealthy for us than not getting the sleep or, eating the cookie. The cookie's always my favorite example. But yeah. So yeah, I love how this is paralleling.
It's exactly what you described too. You
Yeah.
then like feel like a failure if you don't reach those numbers. And it's like, no, 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 like this is not the right mindset. I
Yeah.
work with teenage girls a lot and we have the conversation about calories all the time. And I'm like, you need to learn to eat based upon how you feel,
Hmm.
not based upon external numbers. And it's the same with sleep. You need to be able to wake up in the morning and tell me how you felt about your sleep. Don't tell me
Hmm.
what a device told you about your sleep. Tell me how you felt about your sleep.
Yeah. I love that. And and the what was I gonna say? Oh, the like even in the calorie discussion, first of all, the calories on the packages are off. You know, they're off. And then also the calories that your device is tracking is off. It took me a while to be able to wear a Fitbit again without obsessing with the calories that it's telling me I'm burning. Like for me, it was the sleep thing and steps because I'm not obsessed with steps numbers, but I have goals, right? So it's this whole like it's this balance of what is the outside world telling you you should be doing versus what's your self telling you that you should be doing.
Right. So that's really where I start when I help
Mhm.
people start to sleep better. It's first that mentality shift of
Yeah.
stop battling your sleep. Your sleep is not something to like conquer and achieve. Like it's something that it's a journey and
Hmm.
it can't be this fight. But also the second piece of that is that as a country, we do not prioritize sleep.
No.
We prioritize being busy.
Hmm.
And that is so backwards. And it's so backwards for our health and our well-being and our minds and our family and our, day-to-day work-life balance. It can't be we need to be busy all the time. Sleep has to be prioritized.
Yeah.
And
I,
actually, one of the reasons why I went into sleep coaching, it's always like my funny story that I tell. I've always talked about it, and when I've written books about teen mental health, I've always included chapters about sleep and how important it is. But I was out to dinner with a bunch of couples, and all these women were talking about some text chain, and I was like, "What text chain are you talking about? Because I'm not on it." And they're like, "It's our 3 a.m. text chain. We don't put you on it. We know you sleep." And I was like, wait a second, none of you are sleeping at 3 in the morning? And they're like, no, we get up around 2. Or like, then like, well, maybe like snooze. I'm like, what are you doing? They're doing dishes, they're doing laundry. Like, what? You need to be sleeping. You need to be sleeping. Sleeping is more important than your laundry or your dishes.
yeah. I mean, side note and plug your ears, children. When you were saying that, I was like, fuck that.
Yes. Yes. My phone actually, it goes on do not disturb, or it's even out of my room most of the time.
Mhm.
So if a kid is out, that it'll be in my room, but on, do not disturb. Um, by like 9 o'clock at night. Don't talk
Yeah.
to me. Don't bother me. I'm sleeping.
Yeah.
And if it's an emergency, somebody is going to find me for a
Yeah.
real emergency. A real, there was a time, we didn't have cell phones connected to us all the time. Like people found you wherever you were. Like you don't need to be so connected all the time.
Yeah. But props to your friends for thinking of you.
I know. Thank you. Thank you
So
for not
sweet.
including me on your 2 a.m. text chain.
Yeah.
I
Well,
mean, I
dear
would have slept through it.
precious.
Many times I wake up in the morning and there's this huge text chain, and someone's like, "Why isn't Keri responding?" And somebody's like, "She's probably sleeping."
That's awesome.
And
But
then the flip side is everyone says, "How do you get so much done during the day?" Well, because I'm well rested.
Be like, I'll give you one guess.
And it starts with S.
Yeah. But yeah, we glorify hustle culture and uh it's this like go, 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 go. And if you take a break and rest, what are you doing with your life? And so there's also this element of guilt because we're not doing the hustling, because we're resting and doing something that our body actually needs to survive. And so, yeah, it's a
It's a
mind
whole
trip.
mind shift that
Hmm.
we need to do. And again, especially here in this country, it's like, oh, if you're not sleeping, just take a sleeping pill. Oh, like just, that's not the long-term solution here.
Yeah,
Your body knows how to sleep. You just need to get back in tune with it.
yeah. I kind of want to do like not a hard turn, but I'd love to kind of nerd out on what exactly sleep does for us. Um, all the things.
Yeah,
Yeah.
where to start, right? Um, let's talk about some of the physical things. So, just in the physical nature, this is when your immune system turns on. This is when our growth hormones, especially for children, are being produced. It's when we're sleeping. So if you want your children to, grow up healthy, they need to be sleeping. Um, your immune system is turning on, like we just said, all of your hormones for am I hungry? Am I full? All of that's happening. It's literally it flushes your brain. Imagine like this car wash. That's what's happening at night. And it's flushing your organs. Like everything is just resting, detoxing, producing what it needs to produce. So much stuff is happening. And then it's also when we're learning, organizing our memories. Like people are constantly talking about, oh, my memory's so bad. It's when you sleep that all this memory is happening.
Mhm.
I talk to college kids I work with all the time. Don't stay up late and sacrifice sleep to study because all the studying that you did that day, your brain actually now needs to incorporate, and it's incorporating it at nighttime. Actually,
Mm.
during the REM stage is when the learning is happening, which is interesting because when they're infants, they have these really long REM stages. You see, like, they're always like twitching and
Yeah.
moving. And as we get older, our REM stage naturally gets less and less because as we age, we're normally learning less and less,
Mm.
which is so interesting. And so,
Yeah.
especially older adults, keep learning. And then these REM cycles need to be organizing more information. So that's really important for just memory long term. So, I mean, really, every function, your muscles, like everything is relaxing and detoxing all during your sleep cycle. And then just for your mood, when toddlers don't get enough sleep, we all know how they are. They're cranky, they're miserable, they're like throwing a fit because, I don't know, that you gave them a green crayon, they wanted an orange crayon. Like they can't handle anything.
Yeah.
And when they're toddlers, we all go, oh, they missed their nap. And everyone's like, yeah, completely, I get it. But as we get older and we're throwing fits over nonsense and we're stressed out over small things, nobody's saying, like, did you
Did you
miss your
miss your nap?
nap time? Do you need more sleep? But that's what's happening. We're just sleep
Yeah.
deprived. When you're sleep deprived, you can't make good decisions. There are so many, I give corporate talks because there are so many mistakes made in the workplace because of sleep deprivation. Productivity
Yeah.
is so much better when everybody is sleeping. And we know extreme cases of it. Like, those nights where you just don't sleep at all. It's like you're walking through mud the next day. Like you could barely function or see or,
Yeah.
problem solve and think. And it's a mess. Like, remember when you had newborns and it's like, you're putting stuff all over the house in random places because you can't even think about what you're doing. It's the same when you're really, really sleep deprived. But what people don't realize is that they're in this state of almost like a constant sleep deprivation, but not to that extreme. But it's
Hmm.
still impacting them. Like they could be functioning so much better and nobody realizes it because they're so used to it. It's like when people have these chronic, illnesses, they don't realize how good they could be feeling because they're so used to the feeling of the
Yeah.
chronic illness.
Yeah. My 6 years started when I had my son, and I was pumping every 2 hours for 11 months straight.
Yep.
And it's no wonder I kind of lost some of my memory. But
And you probably didn't even feel human
no.
at some points.
Mm-mm. No.
Yeah, that's, new moms especially. They're like, I don't feel human anymore. Right, because you're completely sleep deprived. And listen, there is something to be said about you are going to be a little sleep deprived when you have a newborn baby. Like
Yeah.
there's reality about that. But how can you make it better
Yeah.
and last forever?
Yeah. And just a side tangent, this is one of the reasons I have a huge problem with, as soon as we become moms, the first message you hear is get your body back. It's like, how about I get my sleep back first?
Yep. The
You
first thing
know?
is
Oh,
get your sleep back. Because, all right, so when we talk about exercise, what's the one thing you hear all the time about people who are like, I can't exercise, I'm too tired. I'm too tired. I don't have enough time during the day.
oh, stop
This,
making excuses.
right? But it's all connected back to sleep.
Right, yeah.
If you were sleeping better, you'd be able to wake up 30 minutes earlier and exercise. If
Mm-hmm.
you were sleeping better, you'd be more productive through the day and then not staying up late to get stuff done. It's all connected. So yeah, like we talk about sleep, like it's literally the foundational piece of everything.
Yeah. So then what happens to the person who is too tired to exercise and they do it anyway?
Well, that's a good thing to push yourself into because everything is so connected. So when you start
Right.
exercising, you're burning energy. You're going to be able to sleep a little bit better at night. And that's, another issue. And that's something I work with, teens a lot on is that if you're doing nothing all day long, if you're not moving your body, if you're just like bed rotting, as I call it, especially on weekends, how's your body going to be tired then when it's
Yeah.
nighttime? And there's a difference. And I always like to point this out. There's a difference between being tired and being sleepy. Being tired, you need to go exercise. Being tired, you need to go for a walk. Being sleepy, that's when you sleep. Because a lot of kids come home from school, or even, adults come home after work and are like, I'm so tired, I'm going to take a nap. Are you tired or are you sleepy? Would you still feel like that if you took a 10-minute walk outside?
Mm. So how would you distinguish the difference?
I would say start with taking a 10-minute walk outside and then tell me how you feel. Because lots of times
Yeah.
that energizes you. And
Hmm.
there is something to be said. Our natural sleep wake cycles during the daytime hours between 2 and 4, we get a little sleepy. Like that's a normal shift in our cycle.
Hmm.
But that doesn't mean you need to go to sleep. It means that go take a walk, go do something to kind of re-energize you. And actually, a lot of people will complain that they wake up a lot in the middle of the night between 2 and 4. That's because it shifts to a little bit more awakeness during those times too. It's just our natural, body rhythm. And way back in the day before electricity, it was not uncommon for people to wake up between 2 and 4 in the morning, have conversation, have sex, eat a snack, and go back to bed.
Wash their dishes.
Wash their dishes. They were also, though, going to bed much earlier because the sun was
Right.
setting. That's when they would
Yeah.
go. But this bilateral sleep was actually a thing at one point, which is very interesting.
Yeah. So then I wonder, oh gosh, I'm going deep, but I wonder like when it shifted into you have to sleep this solid, like who came up with the rule that it has to be this solid thing when our bodies naturally tend to wake up in that. Just to,
Yeah.
you don't have to know, but I was just
Yeah,
curious.
I
I was
don't
like,
know, but it's an interesting rule that happened
yeah.
because again, it's not uncommon that when we finish a sleep cycle, so we go back into like kind of a lighter sleep, it's not uncommon to wake up in between them. So some people
Hmm.
will tell me I have sleep problems. I wake up like, 3 or 4 times a night. And my question is, how long are you up for? And they're like 5, 10 minutes. There's really nothing wrong with that, to be honest. We think there is, but there actually isn't.
That's good to
So
know.
yeah, it's good to know, right? Because
Yeah.
sometimes we have problems when we actually don't have problems.
I call
Um,
that the not problem.
that's not a problem. It's only a problem if now you're anxious about it and now you're like, oh my gosh, I'm awake and it's 1:30 in the morning.
Yeah.
when am I going to fall back asleep? And then that becomes a problem. But if
Yeah.
you just wake up and you're like, oh, okay, I'm up, and you fall back asleep, it's fine. But really, you know if you're getting good sleep or not, how you feel when you wake up in the morning. And the goal is you should pretty much be able to get up in the morning without an alarm set. Like your body should kind of have a natural rhythm and be like, okay, now it's time to get up and be okay.
Mm, that's a good goal to have.
That's a good goal. It's a good
Yeah.
goal.
Yeah. So then now that we know like what sleep does for the body, how would you like do you have any sleep tips and tricks for people both for quality and quantity?
Yes. So one thing I'm going to say is try to wake up at the same time every day. Um, Regardless of what time you go to bed at night. I think one thing that gets people into a lot of trouble is that if they have a bad night of sleep, they'll try to go to bed the next day extra early, and you're actually just messing everything up at that point. Like,
Mm.
like don't try to compensate for sleep. You really can't. Try to go to bed and wake up around the same time every day, but the waking up part's almost even more important. So make sure that you're trying to wake up the same time every day. You can't catch up on sleep on weekends. Like you could sleep in a little because you enjoy it, but don't think that you're going to catch up from your lack of sleep from the whole week. Like it doesn't happen like that. Every night you need to sleep.
Hmm.
But yeah, there's this concept of, well, I'll just catch up on the weekends. And no, you're not catching up on the weekends. Your body needs to cleanse and flush and learn nightly.
Yeah.
So I think,
Takes
those are
time.
to remember, right? And then of course, the basics that kind of everyone knows but forget is, make sure your sleep environment is comfortable. Make sure that it's a little bit on the colder side. Make sure it's actually really dark.
Hmm.
Sound machines are fine. No problem with them. But make sure you're setting yourself up for good sleep. Everyone's heard get off your devices before bed because the blue light especially messes up your rhythm. And when you're looking at something on social media, you're kind of like getting activated. You want to
Yeah.
really calm down at night. Don't have deep conversations before you go to bed. It's not good for you. Take that time, read a book, like a real book. Do something that, kind of winds you down, but
Hmm.
stay off the devices.
Chamomile tea is one of my favorite nighttime
I
things.
do lemon balm tea. I love lemon balm tea.
What's that? Is it just
It's
like another brand or?
it's just another like herb. It's the lemon balm
Oh,
and
okay.
lemon balm plant, and it's a really relaxing tea. It's actually really great for anxiety. I learned about it from a lot of clients actually. And it's delicious. And yeah, I drink that every night and read a book. Read like some
Mm,
murder mystery book, and
nice.
the
I'll have
public
to try it.
library is my best friend. I mean, you could get books every day.
Yeah. Oh, this is all so awesome. I am now going to take a hard left or right,
Okay.
whichever direction you want to go, and ask you what your story is. Because part of this podcast is the podcast of stories. And I believe that when we share our stories of struggles and hardships and how we get through it, somebody who's listening can maybe be inspired, change their life, whatever. So,
Absolutely.
what's your story? I mean, do you have a time in your life where you had like a ginormous mind shift and everything changed or like, yeah, what's your
I
story?
think I've had a few small ones.
Okay.
So, I mean, I'll go back to like when I was in high school. I was not succeeding in life. I hated school. I wasn't sleeping. I ate like absolute crap, like living off of soda and probably beer at that point. Like just, a hot mess. Um, and I always was really annoyed about the fact that there was no adult to talk to that wouldn't be judgy. Like
Mhm.
teenagers are going to do stupid things. But if they could find that adult who's not going to judge them, but kind of start steering them into better directions or start helping them process like better next steps, that's
Mhm.
a huge thing. And that was kind of like my first thing where I was like, I want to be a therapist. Like I want to help kids. And that's what started me on my entire journey. So, when the traditional route of being a therapist, but at some point I was like, we are missing something. I was at this point working with like huge teams of people. I wasn't in private practice yet. These kids were getting group therapy, individual therapy, family therapy, psychiatrist, and like improving, but not 100%. I kept on being like, we're missing something. We're missing something. And that's when I kind of started diving down, how is food connected to our mental health? And that was a huge light bulb moment. And that's when I really started changing my food as well. And I was like, wait a second, like I don't wake up every day with a pit in my stomach anymore. And I don't have like that constant tremor of like anxiety going through me. It was unbelievable what started happening as I started cleaning up my diet and just eating real food. And then, as time went on, I also just started really learning about the importance of sleep and how crucial that was to everything. I think that really also came during COVID. And that wasn't a personal experience as much as just watching the people I worked with really suffering and their sleep schedules, a disaster. And that's when I wrote my books about mental health. And that's kind of been my journey. And now it's like I'm so passionate about giving people the tools because they're so foundational and they're so simple and you could do them all on your own about sleeping, being hydrated, eating well. And like without that stuff, everything else is an uphill battle.
Amen to that. I almost like want to like mic drop.
Like we overcomplicate everything.
Yeah. And we tend to aim for perfection, and it's not about like how perfect can my diet be, how perfect can my workout schedule be. It's like having a plan and then doing what you can to just make yourself feel good and feel alive.
And it's about putting everything in perspective. Like you said, your goal could be to eat a clean, nutritious diet, but eat the cake. Like don't not eat the cake.
Exactly.
But again, if you're eating like 80% really nutritious, fantastic food for yourself that's going to energize you, you can eat that cake. You can eat that cookie. There's nothing wrong with it. And please don't call it a cheat day.
Yeah.
No, it's just life.
What are you cheating on?
Right. Like it's just life
Yeah.
balance. Like when I go on vacation, I'm not working out on vacation. I'm sleeping, I'm enjoying, I'm sleeping in, whatever. I'm having a good time. That's okay.
Yeah.
It doesn't need to be all or nothing. We get stuck in this all or nothing. And it
Yeah.
doesn't need to be like that. It's just every day when you wake up, you have your goals for yourself and try to put yourself in that direction.
Yeah. I love that. And, back to the cake. Now that I want cake, it's not going to, like, a piece of cake or a cookie is not going to ruin your whole diet or make you gain 10 pounds. Like the, going back to the stress and the anxiety over should I eat this piece of cake or should I eat this cookie is so much more harmful than just eating the cake.
Yep.
And even eating the cake is not harmful.
Right. And that's like
Yeah.
if you go a night without sleep, you're going to survive.
Mm-hmm.
You'll be okay. But it's
Yeah.
when we get in that mindset of, oh my gosh, I didn't sleep, that everything then spirals downhill.
Yeah. Well, I have one more question for you, and I
Sure.
ask everyone at the end of every episode, and that is if you had one piece of advice that you could give to the world, what would it be if you haven't already said it?
I mean, I'm going to say it again. It's like sleep. If everyone in this world slept, do you know how less angry everybody would be? How much more we'd be able to problem solve? Like, you have to prioritize the sleep.
Boom.
Yeah, that's my advice.
Beautiful beasts, Keri Cooper signing off. Until next time.